It was a warm summer day on February the 22nd, 1952, and it had started out as another normal day for Mrs. Betty Hillier of Segenhoe Street, Arncliffe, in Sydney, New South Wales. The 28-year-old woman had taken her 4-year-old son Gary to school. But on her return home, her normal day changed into the extraordinary. Police were milling about her cottage, which surprised her. What they told us soon after surprised her even more. A neighbour had reported that it had been disturbed by a nasty smell emanating from the Hilliers' backyard and wafting over the back fence. When he had peeped over the fence that morning to ascertain the cause, he thought he could see a human body on a rubbish heap. Police investigated, and sure enough, hidden in long grass and covered with brambles, was the decomposing body of a middle-aged man. From the position of the body and the clothing, it appeared to have been carried and deposited there. Mrs. Hillier was shocked, and said she had no idea how the man came to be laying dead in her backyard for almost a week. She had no reason to go to the back of the yard, and although her son played in the yard, he never went to the bottom of the yard where the body had been concealed. A man and a woman had been staying with Mrs. Hillier for the past few days, but they had not noticed anything either. Then she recalled a perturbing incident, which, although it had worried her at the time, she had not reported to police. A few days earlier, on Sunday, the 17th of February, she returned home to discover a broken tumbler on the floor and an empty wine bottle in a cupboard, which had suddenly appeared while the home was supposedly vacant. The cause of death was difficult to pinpoint due to the condition of the corpse. Police speculated that the man had died as a result of a broken neck, but a pathological examination failed to confirm any physical signs of violence. Stomach samples were taken and analysed for poison, but the results were negative for any toxins. Fingerprints were taken, but no match was held on file. The man's pockets were empty, but robbery was not thought to be a factor. Betty Hillier denied ever having seen the man before, and police could not find any neighbours who had seen or knew of a man matching the dead man's description. There was one piece of information which Mrs. Hillier was able to provide. Not long before, the 16th of February, she had been introduced to a couple at a neighbour's house, and they had discussions regarding renting a room, which had not proceeded. Their names were Ron and Mary. A description of the dead man's clothing was circulated through newspapers, and one man who read the stories had a feeling of foreboding. He contacted police, and on the Saturday night attended the morgue, where he viewed the body. The dead man was his father-in-law, the man confirmed. His name was John William Toone. He was a widower, aged 52. His wife Ethel had passed away on the 2nd of March 1950. He worked as a labourer at a glassworks and lived in a shack at Menai. Toone was a heavy drinker and had not been seen since the 16th of February. John Toone's body was buried at Warrenora Cemetery on the 27th of February. Meanwhile, investigations into Toone's last known movements had reinforced police attention upon two persons of interest. Ronald William Simpson, a 28-year-old mechanic and motor driver. His photo and personal details were published in a bid to track him down. Simpson was 5'11", and was of a solid build, weighing about 14 stone. He had black hair worn in a brushed back style, brown eyes, and an olive complexion. The first joint of his right index finger was missing. He normally dressed in a navy blue suit, with open neck, white shirt, or in sports clothes with brown shoes. He did not wear hats. The second person was Mary Lillian Tomerup, alias Butler. She was 30, 5'9", with a slim build, blue eyes and fair hair and complexion. She was known to her friends as Molly. With this information given out, arrests were quick to follow. On the 2nd of March, Simpson and Tomerup were detained by police at a shack at Boat Harbour, Kurnell, and taken to Kogarah Police Station, where they were charged with murder and remanded without bail the following day. Questioning Simpson and Tomerup revealed what had occurred between them and Toone. The three had met at a wine saloon in King Street, Newtown, on the 16th of February, and drank and talked together. While there, Tomerup saw Toone putting some money in his sock and told Simpson. Simpson said he was going to ask the older man to lend him £1, and if he didn't, he'd touch him. The pair conspired to lure Toone away to a quiet place to carry out their plan. Walter Addison, the licensee of the saloon, said he saw the couple drinking with Toone, whom he knew as Old Jack. Toone had paid for the drinks at the table, as well as buying 5 bottles of wine. He then bought a 6th bottle about 12:30 p.m, saying that they were going to Menai to have a good weekend. Instead, Simpson, who was the young man who had spoken with Betty Hillier about lodging at Segenhoe Street, went to that address. Finding the house empty, Tomerup climbed through the front window and opened the door for the 2 men. Once inside, they continued drinking, opening 2 of the bottles. Then Simpson decided he'd go and shave in the bathroom. While he was away, Toone allegedly put his arms around Tomerup and said he liked her, and as he sat in a lounge chair, she sat on the chair's arm. Repulsed by his advances, she went and told Simpson. Simpson told Toone to keep his hands off the woman, but then punched Toone hard on the jaw. Tomerup later described it as a terrible blow. Toone fell to the floor with his eyes open. He appeared to be dead, and probably was, or very close to death. Tomerup fled to the kitchen, and Simpson punched the man again a few times. Then he picked him up, propped him in the chair, and put his coat around him. When Tomerup returned, Toone's mouth was bloody, and his lips had turned purple. She said he looked as if he were dead. Simpson began to get nervous, and wiped the blood from the other man's face. Simpson then took 3 or 4 pounds from Toone and carried the body outside and hid it among the weeds and grass. When he had dumped the body, Simpson told police later that although he thought Toone was dead, he hoped for the best. Pressed on Toone's behaviour, Simpson admitted he had lied. Toone had not made advances towards Tomerup. She had actually gone to the bathroom to say that Toone was a decent old chap and asked Simpson not to rob him. Simpson had told her he would not, but on entering the lounge had immediately cursed at and struck Toone. Still puzzled by the cause of death, Toone's body was exhumed on the 5th of March for further testing to be done on the organs. Dr. Stratford Sheldon could not find signs of violence. There were no bone fractures, and the neck was not dislocated. Decomposition made it impossible to tell if there had been facial bruising or brain hemorrhage. At the second post-mortem, no disease could be found present that would have proven fatal. The pair were sent for trial in June 1952. Tomerup pled not guilty, while Simpson pled not guilty of murder, but guilty of manslaughter. Tomerup was acquitted of the crime, on the basis that she had asked Simpson not to harm Toone. She was told by Justice Kinsella, "You can consider yourself extremely fortunate that the evidence was not of that quality on which the jury could reasonably convict you. You still have to face the considerations that your own conscience imposes on you, because of the fact that an unfortunate man that did no harm to you or your associate is now dead." When it came time in late June to sentence Simpson, he made a plea for leniency, stating that he was very much under the influence of alcohol at the time. The court had heard from Simpson's father that his son was a kind and pleasant man, except when he had been drinking, and a nasty streak emerged. Justice Kinsella said that Simpson had shown indifference to whether Toone was alive or dead when he dumped his body, and that the blows he had struck the small, frail man were callous, adding that it was a bad case of manslaughter requiring a severe sentence. He imposed a 12-year term of imprisonment.